welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. In Ezekiel chapter 28, God calls the ruler of Tyre a mere mortal. Later, he says he was created as a guardian cherub. Is this all about the fall of Lucifer? Well, allow me to address this from two angles. From a contextual perspective, the first half of chapter 28 of Ezekiel talks about the prince of Tyre, the actual ruler of Tyre, the one who is going about all these ways contrary to the things of God. By the time you get to verse 11 of chapter 28, it talks about the king of Tyre. And as this question addresses, a guardian cherub over the throne of God, one who walked in the Garden of Eden, one who was perfect in all of his ways. So what is happening here? Well, allow me to draw you a parallel and then talk about a process. In Matthew chapter 16, Jesus Christ is at Caesarea Philippi with the apostles. Famous story, who do you say that I am? Remember the Apostle Peter says, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Jesus replies that flesh and blood has not revealed this unto you. Later on in the story, though, Jesus makes it very clear that the means by which he will save us is crucifixion, the cross, giving his life. Peter retorts and says, oh, no, not under my watch. Remember what Jesus says to him? Get behind me, Satan. Well, you and I both know that Peter is not and was not Satan, but that was the power, the means that was operating behind the scenes for him to go contrary to the Lord in that context. Back to Ezekiel chapter 28, same thing's happening. Israelites are in captivity. The prince of Tyre is wreaking all kinds of havoc. And what we see in the latter part is the Lord using the fall of Satan, much like in Matthew chapter 16, to show what's really going on behind the scenes. Another angle I want to address before we close is that oftentimes when we think about the prophets, we think about foretelling, telling the future, which oftentimes they do. We oftentimes forget, though, that in the process of forthtelling, which is communicating truth, hence chapter 28, that they will reach back into the past and use an illustration to prove a present day point, much like you and I would do if we were telling somebody a story and saying, oh, don't you remember a couple of years ago, as an illustration of. So in Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 11 through 19, the king of Tyre, yes, is a description of what we know as the fall of Satan, utilized as an illustration of the spirit or the power that was operating behind the prince of Tyre during the Babylonian captivity. Great question. You have one, send it to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.